up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Storyhive on Location Vancouver with beats, eats, and more. My name is Kazi. I'm the host of this show. We're broadcasting live on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations. Big shout outs and utmost love and respect to the original stewards and protectors of these lands, these waters. Also want to give a special shout out to Storyhive for powering today's episode. And now we get to introduce our guest. Ha ha ha. The one, the only, Francis Arevalo. East Van born emcee, storyteller, and heart-forward lyricist shaped by poetry slams, Filipino roots, and a lifelong love for hip-hop. Known for performances that feel as intimate as a living room and as powerful as a festival stage, Francis turns personal truth into fuel and fire. His journey with mental health, captured in the award-winning documentary The Lion, has become a beacon for others, proving how music can heal and hold us. Fresh off of opening up for Shad at the Hollywood Theater just this past weekend and gearing up for his 2026 album, Homegrown, we meet here at Cascade Water, the place many of these songs transpired. Y'all give it up for Francis.
What an intro.
So you, East Van, born and raised, I definitely want to know, like, paint us a picture of the young Francis growing up in East Van. You know, what were the sounds, the smells, the sights, the tastes, the feels?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me laugh because, so I was born on Fraser, like 5 minutes from here, and I grew up in a house with, I think at most there were 4 families in the house.
Oh yeah.
It was like all cousins, you know what I mean? Like like a family in each room, you know, like at least 2 siblings per family. And when you say like, what do you smell? I remember like the sweat of my cousins. Like, yeah, like just running around, doing dumb things, playing games, like acting a fool in the hallway. You know what I mean? I remember like climbing the walls in the hallway, and then like, you know, Lola or like Tita would be like, oh no, it's time to eat, like jump off the wall. And then you'd be like, you know, like an adobo type thing, you know what I mean? Just classics. I feel like, yeah, a lot of my memories of the first few years of living in Vancouver, specifically like Fraser Hood area, it's like, it's chaotic energy, it's loving energy, you know? It's learning how to collaborate with like kuyas and ates, like all in the same household, learning how to play nice, share toys. But also, it was also learning how to, I think that was my first example of learning how to be in community, in close space, and learn how to soften our edges so that we could actually be in close relationship with each other. That was my first example. I kind of grew up in that. And so I think that informed how I became who I am today and how I navigate being in community with people.
What were the sounds other than obviously people laughing, fighting, and, you know, crying, young kids crying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of yelling for sure. Yeah. But also, like, I remember singing to Backstreet Boys. I remember, like, we all crowd around like a little tiny tube TV watching, like, I think it's called YTV's Hit List or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the countdown. I remember the first song we all kind of jammed on was like, I Get Down by Backstreet Boys.
Oh yeah, I get down.
Yeah, get down and move it all around.
See what? How to memory? It's
in
crazy.
there. It's in there. It's in the bones at this point. Yeah, it was a lot of like, you know, rewatching cartoon reruns and like mimicking the lines back as a group of rambunctious kids. It was singing along to our favorite songs. It was crying when people didn't play nice. It was.
Blaming each other and crying.
Yeah, that was the vibe, like every day, basically.
Yeah.
I think it was a really special time. You know, as chaotic and as frenetic as it was, like again, like as I was saying earlier, it was also really soft. Like you learn to love by being that close. You kind of have to learn how to get along. And so, I think my family is pretty expressive emotionally. So. When you tell someone you love them, you tell them you love them. But when you tell them when someone's getting on your nerves, you really let them know. Like, you're making me angry, like, you know? So, yeah, there's a lot of use of language in really powerful ways at home.
I would love to know when you first fell in love with her, as in hip-hop in its essence is real.
Sure.
Common. How do you relate to the story of that song and your own relationship with hip hop?
Yeah, it's cool that you bring that up because, we'll talk about it at some point, but there's a song on the album that is my version of that. That's like, how did I...
You mean the forthcoming album?
The forthcoming album, yeah.
Ooh!
Yeah. It's like my love letter to hip hop. And, I think for me, I think before I fell in love with that music and rap and lyricism in that form, I think I learned to love language through the people around me, through my family, and like being really eloquent in terms of how we express our emotions and our thoughts and how we think of the world. I also, I feel like it might be a kind of a Filipino thing, but like we're also so funny, like like just little jokes, little like wordplay things that are so
sassy.
Yeah, just sassy, like you're just roasting people all the time.
That.
And so I kind of came up in that too. So the combination of like expressing yourself eloquently and intentionally, and also just having fun with words and language, that was what inspired me, I think, in the early childhood, early teenage years, to write poems. I think my entry into hip hop and rap was by way of writing poems first, listening to poems first. And then after that, it was like spoken word. It was watching like Def Jam poetry and going to the poetry slam here on Commercial. That's where my love for language started. And then I think as I went through late high school, early university, and I was competing a lot in Vancouver poetry slam settings, you get scored, right? You perform your piece, you get judged by 5 people, and then you get ranked, and then there's a prize at the end. It's a whole way of sharing art together in a competitive way. But I think what I realized was that I didn't want to compete like that anymore. And that's when I found my love for not just music generally, but like making music within a band and collaborating and keeping it about expression and collaboration rather than like trying to beat another poet. You know what I mean? And so I think that like playful and collaborative energy around like 2013 is when I realized like, oh, rap is poems and music together, like rap and poetry, right? And so I think it was around early 2010s when I was like, oh, I think I want to explore this.
It's beats, rhymes, and life.
Yeah, that's it.
So who would you say was the first hip hop artist that entered your earlobes that really made an impact on you?
Oh, Shad. Yeah. Yeah, I can remember the exact setting that it all happened. It was 2008, and me and the homies, have our like after school basketball session. And
where's this?
This is in Guildford, Surrey. So I did my grade school in Surrey.
Okay.
And this is at the Cage, and it's this kind of really well-known basketball court.
You probably know about it, Josh. Yeah, he grew up in Surrey.
Yeah, that's it. What is that? 152nd, 100?
Shout out to Surrey. Yeah.
You know? So it's like right by the pub. Yeah. Yeah, I remember we would hoop at the Cage all day, and then once it was kind of like too dark to hoop anymore, we'd go to our friend's house, and then I remember 2008, I think it was like autumn, and one of my friends was like, yo, I heard about this rapper that posted this like, I think it was 7-minute thing on YouTube. It's just him rapping, just bars straight for 7 minutes. I'm like, I've never seen that, right? And so it was Shad, and I think it's called The One in Front of the Garage, like unofficially. And I'd never seen someone play with language like that, especially over a beat. Like, that was so impressive. And yeah, I think Shad is probably the most memorable in the early days of like, oh wow, this person is using words in ways that I didn't know was possible. And it's really inspiring, but also like, hiding or like saying really deep, insightful perspectives on life and being a human, but it's also like met and matched with wordplay and like a cleverness and a wit that doesn't feel so, I guess, like preachy or, you know what I mean? Like, it's fun too. It's like deep and light at the same time. And then I think seeing him do that for 7 minutes straight, no bar wasted, everything is a banger basically. I'm like, oh, that's like a new level of skill that I want to try to grow into. Yeah, it's shad.
And so you started to study.
Yeah. It was a lot of listening to, it was shad. It was also Lupe Fiasco.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
I was going to say, man, you got some Lupe flow.
I take that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Means a lot because
that kick push.
Yeah. Yeah, that the Food and Liquor CD in my Walkman, in my like basketball shoe bag, you know. I think that probably got the most spin out of anything in high school for me. That Food and Liquor for sure. Yeah, Kick Push 2. Yeah, it was like Shad, Lupe, Common, and Blue probably. That's like kind of like my 5 or 6 or whatever.
We really did grow up the same era, dude. Like you're just naming everything that I also grew up listening to.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool to hear you talk about like who you studied and who inspired you. I'm curious, like, how did you learn to be brave with what you were expressing through your words? You know, it's one thing to like write something, and then there's another to like want to perform it and share it and be brave enough to put yourself out there like that. Where does that come from for you?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that, you know, I was like the kind of kid that at the family party, if there was a microphone, it's in my hand, you know, like karaoke type vibes.
Yeah.
So I got early reps of like perform in front of a crowd energy. I mean, and back then I definitely wasn't saying anything really important.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, singing like love songs on karaoke, but just like learning to step in front of a crowd, take up space, use my voice and project, dance a little bit, you know, and that's probably where I learned to get comfortable in my skin as a performer. I think it definitely took a few years. Like I think I started writing poems with the intention to perform them, maybe around the 10th grade in high school. But I think in the early stages, I really was like emulating those artists that I was listening to, maybe some other poets as well that I was listening to. It took me a while to really find my voice, figure out what I wanted to say, what I wanted to talk about at all as an artist. And I think I generally have this sense of if I'm experiencing an emotion or there's a truth that I'm holding that needs to be released from my body, I want to honor that even more than trying to entertain a crowd. I'm trying to regulate myself by expressing this truth, or maybe it's speaking on some hardship, or maybe it's speaking on injustice that I experienced. Like, I need to get it out of me so that I can feel comfortable, right? Because when I don't speak on my truth and I don't be myself fully and out loud, I mean, that festers.
It's true.
And it gets dark sometimes. So at the very core of all of my performing and sharing and expressing and all that, like, it's for me first, right? And sometimes I even look at songs that I'm written and some people think like, oh, wow, like thank you for writing. Some people have said to me like, thank you for writing that for me. Like, I needed to hear that. I'm like, I'm so glad that you've received it that way. In my head, I'm also like, I'm speaking to myself. Like, I'm trying to like counsel myself and guide myself through a difficult moment. And then I think once I learned that creativity and expression and writing is that kind of a tool for me, that's when I realized, oh, I can then be even more intentional about how I speak to people, how I share this with people, how I can offer this gem that helped me to someone else who it could help too. Yeah, I think it was many years of getting in reps like that, of just like getting whatever was not bugging me, but like what was just on my heart and on my mind, and a practice of like putting it out into the world, whether that was in a big crowd or just like my journal entry, right? It was making sure that it doesn't stay stuck in me.
I would love to ask you about, you know, your journey through bipolar type 1 and anxiety, which was captured on The Lion. It was really dope. I watched that earlier today, and I didn't even realize that was like released in 2017.
A long time ago.
Yeah, but what was it like turning your life into art like that, you know, and bearing your soul?
Yeah, I think that might be the most prominent example of my life of like, I have gone through this experience. I live with these realities. And, you know, I was not expecting to go through that first year of mania, psychosis, depression all at once, right? That was a huge plot twist, and I don't think anyone else expected that. And so that was a solid 18 months of retreat from the world. And in that retreat, there was a lot of those heavy, dark feelings and thoughts that were sitting and piling up inside me. The resulting music and poetry that came from that speaks to what I was talking about earlier, is like, I need to move it. I need to transmute it into something else and make it be useful for me to heal. It needs to be moved from dark and heavy into like light and like outside of me, like external to me. Because yeah, those are probably the hardest months of my life. And I needed to literally just get it out of me, like exercise it from my body. And so those, maybe the first year or 2 years after that really challenging time, a lot of it was explicitly or implicitly talking about that big plot twist in my life. Every song that came out of that time was some effort to use rap and spoken word as a way to make sense of that time and eventually archive that time, because I didn't want that to be carried into every other project that I was working on. But I don't even think in the moment I was thinking of it as like, oh, I need to make art, you know? Yeah. I was like, I just need to get this out of me. The tools that I know, it's writing and music. And eventually it became, okay, well, I've got a bunch of songs now, like maybe that's a mixtape. Maybe I should go to the studio. Oh, maybe I should learn to record. Da, 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 da. And so, you know, those first couple mixtapes for sure, like it was this following the next logical step. And it started from scribbling journal entries that then turned into songs, that then turned into demos. Yeah. And then people were like, why don't you make a project? I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So it turned into art eventually.
I love that that was your outlet for what you've been going through and that you've become an advocate.
I appreciate you seeing that, because that album specifically, like, it's not about no commercial success. It's not about no awards. It's purely like, I need this story to live outside of me. And like the act of even like sequencing the track list and like, oh, what is the arc that I'm trying to tell? It helps me make sense of those 18 months. And a byproduct of me doing that is, like someone else can now listen to it and see themselves, see their story, or see what's not in that album for them, you know? Yeah, I'm really grateful that it can be of service to people.
Thank you for sharing that. I was starting to get emotional, bro. Like, it's true, you're alive and you're here, and it's blessed, and I'm super grateful.
Oh, thank you.
And seeing you perform on Saturday with Shad, before Shad, you came out on stage and like the crowd was just already so hot. Like everybody was like, and I filmed it. Like I have a clip of it where you were just like looking out into the crowd and I felt like I saw somebody who, like, you know, Pokemon, the evolution. Like, what do they call it? Evolution. You evolve to that final stage, because there's like 3 usually, right? And you evolve to that final one where it's like you're comfortable in your own skin and you know who you are, and like everybody there that's there for you, like, you know that they're really there for you. And you were like, all right, let me ask, who out there's my cousin? I was like, me too. I don't know about them, but Filipinos, we're cousins. It's happening.
Yeah.
How did it feel like before walking out on that stage and getting ready to perform for somebody who made such an impact on you from very early on?
Yeah, I, honestly, backstage, like so many, like my life was flashing before my eyes, to be honest. Like,
how exciting.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, like my life has, up till now, has led to this moment, you know? And honestly, so I thought I would be super nervous, to be honest. Like, you know, this is Shad being an artist that kind of, I think was like the last, or the first or last spark, I guess, to kind of like put me on the path of like, let's like really spend time honing the craft and becoming an artist and all that. I honestly thought I would be more nervous.
Yeah, you didn't look it.
Yo.
You didn't look it. You just looked grateful.
Yes.
And like excited.
That's it.
And I was like, dude, there could be 5 people in the crowd and you would still have that energy.
Yeah, it was nice to embody all of the lessons that I lived throughout the last, I guess, since 2015 or even before that. Like, I think what I experienced in that moment was like gratitude.
I would love to know about how the Vancouver scene, how do you feel like that shaped you for better or for harder?
Yeah, I guess I can speak first a little bit on the poetry slam scene specifically. The poetry slam at Café du Soleil, I used to go there like just about weekly, like every Monday. You know, you sign up, you hope you get on the list. If you get chosen, you got to make sure you have your like 2 to 3 poems ready. And then you throw down and you get scored against a bunch of people. But that sharpened the pen, right? That like really got me going to like improve regularly and chop it up about the craft and the scene and the culture around poetry slam stuff, spoken word stuff, with like peers that are my age and older too. And so it was cool to have a dedicated place to go to like have these specific niche conversations, because my family doesn't know what I'm talking about, right? Like, they're like, what is a poetry slam?
Yeah.
But it was cool because then my entry into the East Van, because in high school I was coming from Surrey, right? So I was entering the East Van arts scene by way of the poetry slam scene at Café du Soleil. And then I would end up getting one of the first mentorship spots at the Culture, the Ignite mentorship program. And so I got put into a cohort of 6 poets. And that was my first time being like, oh, I have like, I guess that's the beginning of my performing career, I guess. Like, you know, I got paid like $50, $100 a show to like do my little set. And that meant that time is a lot to me because it gave me time to just figure it out and perform with real stakes at like arts venues around the city.
Sick.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I think another thing that is really important to my development is open mics. I miss just the amount of open mics. There used to be like multiple in a week. Like you'd have to pull up a calendar and be like, yo, I'm going to hit this one, then this one, then this one. I'm going to do 2 one
Where
night.
would they happen?
Oh, I mean like cafes, bars, restaurants, like community centers. Like they'd be around. Sometimes people's houses. And like, I think that's where I started to learn like, oh, this isn't just poetry that I like doing or watching. There's also like a guitarist that's singing, or there's a person playing their beats and rapping. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I got exposed to like different mediums really fast because I don't remember there being much of an open mic culture or open mic scene, at least where I lived in Surrey. So I had to come out here to kind of like get involved and like perform and watch people perform. Yeah, I think, so I got my introduction to I'd say the music scene and music venues specifically by way of like early 2010s music scene at UBC, because that was like the incubator for us. We'd, you know, in between classes, we'd go to wherever and we just all jam together, put on open mics, put on events, play shows, start bands, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then so once we graduated, I think I graduated after them. But again, like it's actually kind of cool to talk about this now because I'm realizing so much that like Missy D, Kim, Lady Jams, like that squad of people specifically, like they really walked the path before I did, or they started further along than I did. So I got to watch as a fan, you know. I'd shoot video for them, like.
Yeah, be the homie who's helping.
Just be the homie that's around. Like, I'm like, oh, I'll carry your bags.
Yeah.
But I think also Missy D and I spent a lot of time like just sharing our first raps back and forth. And so, yeah, I think we've like grown alongside each other, which is cool as MCs. Kim too. Kim's a touch older than both of us, but so it's not perfectly synced up. But yeah, I hold that time really special in my heart as a friend, but also as an emerging artist, a developing artist. Like, you know, I honestly don't know where I would be in my music career if not for having people to regularly debrief after a show.
Yeah.
Or like be like, hey, is this good? What do you think of this? Like, or hey, let's go hit up this open mic together. Yeah. There was this really special like fam cohort team, Barcada vibes. Yeah, you know what I mean? And you just move together. You move in unison. It's really cool. And so, you know, all these years later, yeah, I'm so grateful that I get to be alive still and have these friends that are so dope. I'd say from when I started in like 2013 putting out music, up until now, I've made sense of these years in terms of almost 3 acts, which is like the first act was like I wanted to prove people wrong. You know, I wanted like,
which is an excellent motivator.
Excellent motivator. It's fire for sure. It's fuel for sure. But it burns out fast. You know, you run out of it real quick. So the first act was like, I wanted to prove people wrong. And then in my kind of middle era, I'd say like 2019 to like maybe 2024, it was I wanted to prove myself right. I wanted to prove people wrong versus I want to prove myself right. And I think where I'm at now is I just want to be. Yeah.
Common.
Yeah. Back to common. Be. I want to be as free as the spirits of those who... I'm just kidding.
You're like, oh, we're going into bars now? Let's do it. But what we will get into is homegrown. Talk to me about this project.
Yeah, I mean...
And also that it's not homegrown. It's home, comma, grown.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start there. So, I mean, the word homegrown, I typically understand that as like to be grown at home, right? I think I wanted to add a bit of nuance to it, which is like home, comma, grown means I am home and I am grown. It's not just like something is growing at where I live. I wanted it to specifically be like I am home in this place. I am home with my family and friends. I am home in my body. You know, I'm home in my artistry. This is the most, I think this year, I'm experiencing and people are witnessing me and perceiving me, I think as the most me I've ever been, right? I'm like, I've kind of worked through the parts that I was, maybe aren't exactly me or like didn't feel great or I just wanted to shed. But I think this is the most me I've ever been. So I feel at home in myself. That's where I start now. And then kind of something that you were talking about is like, I think performing at the show on Saturday was the loudest I've been about like who I am now. Like I'm confident because talking about anxiety, like I navigate anxiety and negative self-talk and self-doubt a lot. But that was the first time where all of that first performance ever, where all of that quieted. And it was like, yo, I'm here, like I'm good. I can do this. Yeah, like even the mic not turning on. Like,
oh yeah! Oh my gosh, we're like, yo, what's happening?
yeah, the mic not turning on, and so I think that was the first and loudest example of this year of stating first to myself like who I am now, after these years of lessons and growth and all that. I think I want in this album, really I intended it at the very beginning. I started it in 2018, which is a long time ago, in this shop where we are right now, in Cascade, at that desk. That's where I learned to, that's where I first opened Ableton.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's where
oh my gosh,
I learned to produce at this desk.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell the story of the artist and the person that I'm becoming. And definitely why it took so long is because I need to actually live that life. I need to actually grow and be a human being that goes through challenges and hardships and learns stuff and has wins and losses and is confused sometimes, and you know what I mean? And so I think I had this idea in 2018 to storytell that and capture all that. But I think in 2018 I was looking a little too far ahead, right? Like I was young. I think I'm still kind of young. I don't feel like super. I definitely feel young in my music career. I think that's what I'll say. Is like I feel like I'm early stages of my music career still, even though I've been at this for a long time. I think it's because this is the first time that I've believed in what I'm capable of. And it's funny, like, I oscillate between being, like, very, very confident, or at least presenting very confident. But internally, it's all kinds of internal dialogue about how I'm not anything, you know? And so this is probably the first year where the self-belief and the knowing who I am is louder than all the other stuff that's like held me back before. And so I'd say the last 5 years for sure, I think there's been a big life changes, big career changes, big relationship changes. And it's almost like I was shedding all the things that I couldn't take with me into 2026.
Yeah, year of the snake.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most me I've ever been, and I hope people can hear it on the record.
But we always do a rapid fire fun.
Ooh, okay,
round.
That's fun.
Yo, you got so excited.
Let's go. I've been talking heavy stuff all day.
Yeah, this is gonna be great.
Okay.
So don't overthink.
Okay.
Just first thing that comes to your mind.
Flow state.
Karaoke song of choice.
How deep is your love?
How does it go again?
I know your eyes in the morning sun.
No, the chorus.
Oh. Is your love,
how deep is your love? Yeah. I really need.
There you go.
That's my mom's favorite song. Bee Gees. Rice or noodles?
Rice.
Shad lyric that lives in your head.
It's off a feature with Blue Scholars.
Okay.
And I always just randomly will say the beginning of the verse to myself, and it's like, every season is a season of change. Rap I always dug, now I'm deep in the game. I love when crowds repeat my refrains. I ain't speaking of fame. When the rhymes leave, the reason remains. Yeah.
Yeah. Shoutouts to Shad. Yeah. Top 3 fave food joints on rotation in Van City that you hit up.
Oh, okay. Regularly?
Mm-hmm.
First that comes to mind is Hawker's Delight.
Oh, yum.
Second is Faux Goodness, but I only really get the satay faux lemongrass chicken. It's fire. And then third one?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough. First that comes to mind is Plato Filipino on Joyce.
Joyce, yeah. Nice.
It's like that's like where I am.
Go-to mental health practice that gets you grounded.
Ooh, walking. Love walking. Like a sunrise at Central Park type walk.
First album or song that you ever fell in love with?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be Food and Liquor. Food and Liquor, Kick Push, Lupe Fiasco, In the Walkman.
Yes.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
Yes. Local artist you were stoked on right now that everyone needs to know about?
Oh, I got to shout out my guy, Mikey Jose.
Hey, yo! I'm stoked on Mikey Jose. That album, I was like, you're giving Jungle meets Bruno Mars vibes. And he's like, that is the inspiration.
Yeah, Mikey Jose, he just put out Biting My Tongue.
Okay, I am not aware.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah.
And he also is dropping an album this year too.
Maybe Mikey coming for you next.
Let's go.
What Vancouver needs more of right now?
Ooh. Yo, warmth, yo. It's too cold. It's not chill.
Yeah.
It's too chill. Yeah.
What's already here that people don't celebrate enough?
Yo, me, yo.
You? I'm sad. I'm sad. Yeah, celebrate him. That's what's up. For 2026, Year of the Horse, the pace I'm moving is...
The pace I'm moving is in rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In rhythm to? Like yourself?
I'm gonna say nature. Yeah, like I don't want to, okay, specifically because I don't want this album to be sped up by machines like capitalism, like our smartphones. I want to like let it, when we create these bodies of work, they have their own energy and timing and rhythms and cycles too. And I think because this album has been in the works for so long, those rhythms are so like potent and so like in the pocket almost, you know what I mean? So I want to learn to tap into what the music is saying so that I don't act out of character for the project. You know, I don't want to like I don't want to rush things. I don't want to rush the release. I don't want to rush the production of the thing. I don't want to rush this conversation. Whatever it is, like I want to move at the speed of the music.
Bro. Yeah. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
This was such a dope conversation, so nourishing.
Thank you.
I really appreciate learning more about your story, about these 3 acts, the trilogy that's coming out, and you just like bearing your soul and being vulnerable and comfortable in your own skin. It's super inspiring.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing this. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in on the live stream, everyone who's watching the replay after. We appreciate you. We also appreciate Jam and Cameron, who's been running the live stream, operating the tings. And, you know, there's going to be a QR code that shows up here on the edited version of this video. You could scan the QR code, a form will pop up. You could fill out that form if you would like the opportunity to perhaps be in the hot seat next to me and share your story, especially if you are a Van City creative doing your thing. I am your host, Kazi. Once again, this is Francis Arevalo. Tell the people where they can find you.
At Cascade.
Cascade Water. Yo, shout out to Cascade Water.
Cascade Water in Mount Pleasant, probably in Joyce Collingwood area somewhere.
IRL.
IRL, online, Francis Arevalo, Arevalo music on all platforms. And yeah, see you around.
Yo, this has been TELUS STORYHIVE on location Vancouver with beats, eats, and more.